Good morning, Flor. Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone, and welcome. I hope everyone is staying safe through these very, very difficult and unusual times. We here in the Rio Grande Valley continue to see a high number of COVID cases. I'm hoping that soon we'll get a better handle on the number of new cases. The pandemic has delayed many businesses from fully reopening, and those businesses that have opened are scaling back. If we look at statistics for the second quarter of 2020, the US economy shrank by about 33%. That is huge, and that cannot continue for long. We also know that it is important for our economy to reopen. And we also know that the safety of your employees and customers are a top priority. So today, we are taking this opportunity to inform you about the resources that are available for recovery efforts, including safety protocol training for your employees and job seekers. And we have some great speakers for you today, so I hope you find the information valuable for your organization. And I want to thank you, and please enjoy today's webinar. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Alvarez. I know that you're very busy, so we appreciate you taking time to join us today. Before we begin the first discussion, I would like to remind you that if you have any questions, please place them in the chat, and my colleague Armando Benavides will be monitoring the questions and referring those to our speakers at the end of the session. At this time, I'd like to introduce our first presenters, Daniel Uribe, Josh Vasquez, and Aaron Gonzalez, the Business Relations Team from Workforce Solutions, who will be talking about business recovery resources. Daniel?
Thank you, Flora, for the introduction. Let me just go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, are you all able to see the presentation?
Yes. Yes, we are, Daniel.
Okay, great. All right, well, we are, I guess, let me start with the introductions. My name is Daniel Uribe, Business Relations and Information Supervisor, and I'm part of a small team with Mr. Joshua Vasquez and Aaron Gonzalez. They both are business relations representative. And we are part of the business relations teams with Workforce Solutions at the board office. Our contact information is right there in case you need to contact us later on or just direct some questions to us directly as well. That will be fine. So the objectives for this presentation, hopefully we are able to cover all these in the short amount of time that we have. We're going to discuss very briefly the impact that we have created in the community in the last 12 months. We are going to talk about the employer services as well and business relations services and specific funding for businesses, the COVID-19 initiative, recovery efforts. And towards the end, we're going to have a couple of slides regarding TWC unemployment insurance information as well and additional business resources. Okay, so on the community impact, we cover, of course, 3 counties here in the region. We have a system that's called workintexas.com. That is a statewide system that helps us match employers' businesses with job seekers. And here we have some numbers where we can see that what we identify as the demand, we have around 3,190 employers in our system. And what we identified as the supply is about 74,389 individuals registered to work in Texas. Now, we have provided 121,235 services to employers, and that turns also into 721,389 services provided directly to individuals. The referrals, what we see there at the bottom, a referral is the method that we use or the service that we use in the system when we refer a job seeker with an employer to go get interview or find out if they can apply for the specific job posting that is available on the system. So as of yesterday, for the period of the past 12 months, we have 193,000 referrals, and that turned out into 7,333 hires here for the 3-region area. Now, this is the 3 region that I was mentioning. So our service delivery area covers Hidalgo County, Stark County, and Willacy County. We have 5 offices, one in Edinburgh, another one in Mission, Westlaco, Rio Grande City, and Raymondville. So we are, Workforce Solutions Low Rio is one of the 28 workforce development boards in the state of Texas. Now I'm going to pass it on to Josh, my colleague Josh. He's going to discuss the employer services available at Workforce Solutions.
Thank you, Daniel. Again, Joshua Vasquez with Workforce Board Office. Just going to cover some of the services that we offer for employers. We understand that employers, especially smaller employers, are, they make up a large portion of our local economy and are huge drivers of our workforce system. So in doing so, we have business services reps that are assigned to each area and work closely with employers. And some of the services that we do offer for our employers are actually posting their job postings with our job matching database system, which is called Work in Texas. It's a large database that's used throughout the state of Texas through the Texas Workforce Commission to actually post these job postings and connect employers with the candidates that they're looking for. Apart from that, we also offer recruitment and pre-screening of the candidates. We understand that it's a huge component to actually obtain the right candidate for the positions that the employers are looking for. So we closely assist employers in doing so. Job fairs is another one of the things that we offer through our workforce centers. With the pandemic right now, the switch has been to virtual job fairs. So we actually do assist with hosting those and coordinating those job fairs on smaller scales. As a matter of fact, we do have a job fair coming up, virtual job fair coming up this afternoon from 2 to 3. Through Zoom. So we do have various employers that have already signed up and are going to be hosting that job fair through Zoom. We do have a strong presence on social media. So we do, advertise job postings for employers, different events that are going on through our social media presence as well as our workforce pages, which I'll touch on a little bit later in the presentation. But we do have that availability for employers. Skills assessments is also something that is key. We offer assessments in various, occupations, various things that we are able to actually assess candidates that are coming in to, again, match the quality candidate for the employer. A software, video interviewing software that we have is also one of the things that is, become more useful during these times as well. We understand that social distancing is one of the key things, so we have that software available for our employers. And keep in mind, all of these services that I'm mentioning are free of charge to the employer. We offer this as well. Our facilities, of course, right now, we've seen the shift towards virtual job fairs or virtual hiring events, but we do have our facilities that are available free of charge as well if an employer is looking to host any type of event or actually interview any candidates at that point as well. Labor market information, of course, this is one of the key things that we also do offer to employers, being able to provide them up-to-date information regarding salary, occupations, statistics as far as labor force goes here for the Valley. This is also key for any new employer that's coming into the area and wants to know what the Valley has to offer as far as labor force. We're able to provide that information as well. Another one of the things that we offer is a subsidized training and work experience programs for our employers. We do offer the on-the-job training component where we're able to subsidize anywhere between 50 to 75% of the wages for up to 6 months for an employer. And this is basically the on-the-job training program where we're able to offer that individual that has relatively, small experience within a particular occupation, and the employer is able to actually take advantage of this and actually have those wages subsidized for actually taking that individual on and training them on the job. We also have our work experience program where we're actually able to subsidize 100% of the wages for the employer if they're able to take an individual that has no experience and actually train them as well. We also have other funding sources that are available where we're able to provide information regarding the work opportunity tax credit. If an employer is able to take an individual on from a particular demographic, they're able to possibly qualify for the work opportunity tax credit as well. And we're able to provide this information to the employer on how to actually apply for that credit. With the integration of vocational rehab into the workforce system and our centers, and also our student hireability navigators that work closely with the individuals with disabilities, we're able to provide assistive technology such as phones and so forth, different technologies that's available through our workforce centers to individuals that are able to work towards being more inclusive in hiring an individual with disabilities. So we're able to provide that information to our partners as well. Fidelity bonding is another one of the things that we offer for our employers as well. As far as an individual, that is maybe coming out of the system and is being reintegrated back into the workforce, we're able to provide that fidelity bonding as well. Like I mentioned earlier, the online and social media presence that we have is great throughout the Rio Grande Valley. We do have our WF Solutions page where we offer a lot of the business intelligence component. We're able to provide information regarding labor market, unemployment statistics, and we do advertise a lot of our initiatives that we currently have through the Texas Workforce Commission on there as well. So we do have our wfsolutions.org page. Apart from that, we do have, like I mentioned, a strong presence with social media. So we do have our Workforce Solutions Facebook page where we're able to promote events such as today, different hiring events, different things that employers are looking to get out and community partners are looking to get out into the community. We're able to do so through that particular Facebook page. Apart from that, we do also have a RGV Operation Get Hired page that is dedicated to actually posting job postings on there, hiring events, and actually able to provide that information to the public that's actually looking for work as well. So we do have those different outlets that are available to our partners as well. Again, like Daniel was mentioning, we, during these unprecedented times, our shift has been towards the recovery efforts and assisting businesses in the recovery efforts through COVID-19. We understand that the new norm is going to be, social distancing, virtual job fairs. Not only that, but, particular occupations that might not have been needed prior to the pandemic are going to be something that's going to be emerging. So these recovery efforts are going to be key when we're moving forward and assisting businesses. Some of those services that we offer are rapid response services. We have a team that is dedicated to, try to avoid as many layoffs as possible. But if a layoff is to occur, we have our team that goes in and offers different services such as job search assistance for individuals that are going to be laid off or maybe furloughed through Work in Texas. So we're able to provide that information. We also coordinate with the Texas Workforce Commission to actually come down and actually provide information specific to unemployment benefits and how to apply for them, what the eligibility requirements are, and so forth. And these, keep in mind, are changing daily because of different things that are going on with the Texas Workforce Commission and those benefits, especially the pandemic unemployment and so forth. We're able to provide that information. We provide labor market information as far as what occupations are going to be in demand, what we're targeting, what we're seeing. We work closely with industry to try to determine those needs and provide this information to individuals that are going to be potentially laid off. So that way they can make that informed decision as to what occupation they want to go into in the future. We do offer different types of seminars as far as stress management and financial management goes as part of these rapid response services as well. Grants, we do also offer grants through the Texas Workforce Commission. Some of those grants are Skills for Small Business, which basically is aimed towards upgrading the current skills of their current workforce. The Skills Development Fund grant, Self-Sufficiency fund grants and skills for veterans. We also partner with industry to offer the Texas Industry Partnership Grants, where we're able to determine what the needs of that particular industry are and leverage those funding resources to offer that training for that particular industry. High demand job training grants, where we partner with our economic development partners to offer training to the community for in demand and targeted occupations that are going to be needed. And then, like I mentioned, the shift right now has been moving towards our recovery efforts for COVID-19. In doing so, the Texas Workforce Commission has allocated funding specifically for this through the COVID-19 Special Training Initiative. So this particular grant is targeted just for those, to assist those businesses with the training needs for new and incumbent workers. And keep in mind, these are targeted to vital industries such as healthcare, manufacturing, and information technology. All of these industries are focused or targeted as part of the recovery efforts for COVID-19. Additional priority is also going to be for those industries that are directly related to responding directly to COVID-19. This is an example, and manufacturing. If a manufacturer shifts their efforts towards maybe producing face masks or hand sanitizers, those efforts are going to be to actually assist those particular industries in doing so. Additional priority is going to be also to those directly affected through the pandemic. Keep in mind that this particular initiative actually pays for training in such initiatives for up to $2,000 for the trainees. If an employer is looking to maybe participate in this or wants additional information, they can actually reach us through the link provided below, and we'll provide a copy to this presentation as well. Another initiative that we have is the COVID-19 Statewide Funds Grant. This grant is actually a little bit of over $2 million that is directly related to assisting Hidalgo, Star, and Willacy counties in the response efforts. So what this basically does is it's going to assist 103 businesses with the recovery efforts by providing employers access to equipment, aid in maintaining current business operations, and preparing the businesses for reopening properly. And then also it goes towards assisting our current health agencies with allowing us to actually contract 12 more contract tracers from a pool of unemployed individuals and actually assist them with that. Apart from that, we also provide training. We're going to approximately provide training to over 1,000 individuals, which is going to include safety, disinfecting, social distancing, and several other key components that are going to be vital during this particular time. Again, the link to this particular grant is listed below if they are looking to obtain additional information. And then finally, some of the current strategies that we're looking towards is to build awareness. We understand, that we have our social media presence and that we work with our community partners to get the word out. But during this time, we do have those different initiatives that come about, and a lot of businesses are not, don't have this access to this particular information. So building awareness is one of the key strategies that we're using right now to get the word out to our stakeholders and our community partners. Strengthening also our partnerships with local government and with our chambers, our EDCs, and our community-based organizations is something that we're looking to do through webinars such as this that we're hosting today to try to get the word out as much as possible of these different services that we offer to our community. Apart from that, like I mentioned, we have currently participated in 72 webinars, and we've actually presented to more than 234 individuals throughout the community to get this word out. So, like I said, moving forward, these webinars are going to be key. So, if a community partner is looking to host something like this, we encourage you all to reach out to us, and we're more than willing to provide this information to the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh, for explaining to us this array of services that the Business Relations Unit at Workforce Solutions provides. Now I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Aaron Gonzalez. He's our other business relations specialist, and he's going to discuss some points a little bit about the CARES Act and unemployment insurance program as well.
Thank you, Daniel. So the first part I'll cover is about the CARES Act. This was passed early on to help small businesses with the COVID-19 recovery. So four of the main programs are the Paycheck Protection Program, or more popular known as the PPP program. There was the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or EIDL loan, Emergency Economic Injury Grants, and the Small Business Debt Relief Program. So we'll go a little bit into detail on some of these. So as of July 15th, the Paycheck Protection Program had some updates. The new deadline to apply is August 8th, which is coming up pretty quick. Now keep in mind, this is a loan through a local lender that is SBA approved. Not all banks are still doing this loan, so you can check with SBA, you can check with the Small Business Development Center, and see which ones are still participating in this program. The benefit of this program for a small business is that you can have this loan forgiven if you follow all of the guidelines. You can see here that at least 60% has to be used on payroll. The rest can be used on mortgage, rent, utilities. If you were issued this loan prior to June 5th, it has a maturity of 2 years. Loans that were issued after 5 years have an extended maturity of 5 years. For businesses that applied before June 5th, there is an 8-week period where you have to bring back that number of employees that you put on the application. For those after June 5th, they give you a 24-week period. So they realize that it's been difficult to get everyone back in 8 weeks, so they extended that window a little bit longer. They've also, to have the loan forgiven, you have to fill out an application. They came out with a new 3-page application that's a little simplified. Initially, it was a very long application, then they got it down to, I think, it was like 5 pages, and now they're at 3 pages. So you can check at the link here at the bottom to see, the rest of the guidelines, what you have to do to apply, and then there'll be some other contact information on there to find out more information. The other loan is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Now this loan is through SBA. You don't have to go through a bank. You apply directly on SBA's website. The deadline for this is September 30th or until they run out of funds. Part of this loan was also there was an advance, a grant advance. That one was discontinued on July 11th. The way that advance worked was they would get $1,000 per employee up to $10,000. That was a grant that didn't have to be paid back. The interest rate on this loan is 3.75, and it can be repayable over 30 years. Again, you can go to SBA's website, and you can see the application on there and apply through their website. Okay, local unemployment claims. If you look here on the left side, you'll see that since February 20th, we listed the top cities with over 500 unemployment claims. You see there Edinburgh has, and this was going into the middle of July, 17,000 claims. McAllen has 15,600, Mission 15,900. So those being the larger cities, followed by FAR, were some of the top claims. On the right side, you'll see we have the 5 centers in our area. So Mission had the most at almost 40,000, Edinburgh with 20, Wesco with 20, and then you see Rio Grande City and the Raymondville Center. Texas Workforce Commission also has some other unemployment resources. You can see on their website, there's the TWC Mass Claims Program, the TWC Shared Work Program, which is a program where TWC will help you subsidize some salary if you have to reduce hours for some of your employees. There's the appeals notice and the TWC tax department. So you can see there at the bottom, there's a link, and you can see the different employer benefits on their website. Current strategies that we've been initiating for UI claims. We've been outreaching all new Work in Texas registrants daily. There's been outreach via phone, email, Work in Texas messaging to include connection to the workforce orientation and services. There's also a new Work in Texas messaging option, directly target job seekers by their population, occupation, a skill to connect with employer needs. We have initiated a social media campaign. As Josh mentioned earlier, there's the two sites that we disseminate information through. So there's opportunity for training for employees that can cover 100%, in which we provide the tuition assistance. There's some eligibility requirements, but there's businesses can look into that to help upskill some of their employees. Virtual job fairs, as Josh mentioned, there's one today. Those are all done through, you can register and they're all done online. So employers can log into those job fairs and hear a little bit more about the jobs, ask questions, everything is done online. Some upcoming strategies, there's a reintroduction to Work in Texas social media campaign and highlighting the benefits of returning to work now.
Thank you, Aaron, for that presentation on unemployment insurance claims and the the CARES Act programs. Just to close this presentation, I'm just going to provide here some business resources. We have the, especially for Texas Employers Handbook. This is a handbook produced by the Texas Workforce Commission, and it just provides basic legal issues information, pay and policy, work separation, and post-employment information as well. So we do recommend for employers to look into these handbook. It could be very helpful. You can request that at the links there below. And you can even request a print version as well at that email at the bottom of this slide. We have, the Texas Workforce Commission has a specific phone line for the employer, and that is 1-800-832-9394. So you can call this phone number and get answers to your questions directly from the Texas Workforce Commission. They also have the online presence, of course, regarding the resources for small businesses. You can see the link at the bottom as well, and we'll make sure to make this presentation available to all the attendees so you can have access to these slides and links directly as well. And just to close the presentation, we have some COVID-19 resources as well locally on our website, at wfsolutions.org. We had created a specific COVID-19 page. You can see that on the front page and the main menu. We also added a chat feature to our website, so you're able to connect directly to our staff members and chat directly with them and receive services online as well. Of course, we have additional employer resources on the website as well, for job seekers as well, and childcare resources as well for providers and for parents. And the direct link to the specific COVID-19 page is at the bottom there of the page. Again, this is just our contact information if you need to get it. You can direct any questions or call us directly to our phone numbers or email us there at the different emails that are available on the slide. And our link to our online presence, wfsolutions.org, and Facebook again, WF Solutions, and RGV Up. Any questions that you may have, you can also enter them in the chat box, and we'll get back to you at the end of the presentation, or we probably connect back to you if we don't have time. Laura, I think that's it for us. I'll get back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you, gentlemen. A lot of very important information that I'm certain businesses will find very useful. Our next speaker is Jesus Cano from the UTRGV Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center, who will be providing an overview of disinfecting and sanitizing procedures. Mr. Cano?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Steve Armando, there you go. If you can put that in presentation mode, please. All right, so good morning, everybody. I hope that you all are well and safe. And first, I want to thank Workforce Solutions for having us on and bringing some awareness to these topics. My name is Jesus Cano, and I am a manufacturing specialist with TMAC at UTRGV. And so today I'm going to be speaking briefly on some of the key points that you want to consider when implementing a safety plan and enhanced cleaning protocols to protect yourself, your employees, and especially your loved ones. Next slide, please. So why is it important for us to consider a safety plan and enhance our cleaning protocols? All of you are well aware of the current situation across the Rio Grande Valley. It's a dire situation and across the United States. So what can we do, right? So the chances are, with the current pandemic and the increased numbers, is that there's an increased likelihood of one of your employees being infected or coming in contact with someone with COVID-19, or the increased likelihood of a member of your employee's household becoming infected and or requiring care by said employee. So next slide, please. So when we talk about a safety plan, the thought of implementing a safety plan can be very daunting, right? But what we say is start with the basics, right? So if we just start by implementing the very basic preventative measures, such as washing your hands, that is one of the key things that people recommend, or the CDC is recommending in the local and state health agencies, is washing your hands. Now, the simple action of washing your hands breaks down the actual virus, the outside walls of the virus, and actually kills it. So that is one thing that people must know is, hey, make sure we wash our hands. So we need to schedule those hand wash breaks. Make sure we print those signs of the techniques, right? Covering our coughs and sneezes. Make sure that we also have, the printed signs, using the proper PPE. Right now, the local government is mandating face masks everywhere we go, but there's other personal protective equipment that we can use, gloves, face shields, etc. We want to also not only encourage the hand washing on, but encourage our loved ones and our employees to practice a good diet, exercise. Encourage workers to stay at home when sick. I know right now it's with the employment situation, most folks don't want to stay home because they're in fear of either one, losing their job or losing out on pay, but encourage them, right? It's very important that if they are sick, they stay home. No sharing of tools and equipment. If they have to share it, make sure that they're clean or sanitized, and practicing social distancing or implementing flexible work hours or work sites if applicable. Increase cleaning and sanitizing the high traffic areas. Now, these things are very basic. When you look at it and you read them, you're like, well, this is very basic. But some of these points here are the reason why we're in the situation we are, right? People are not practicing the social distancing. They're not taking it seriously. They're not, covering their faces, etc. So This is something that we all can start and make sure that there is an emphasis on this, right? And one thing that we recommend is make it known to all the employees, have an all hands meeting, request the signatures of their acknowledgement, and make it very clear to them that this is the new norm and it's for their safety. Next slide, please. Now, how do we enforce the behaviors on the previous slide? Well, we'll have to develop policies and procedures to enforce that, right? But not only that, but also create policies and procedures for your operations, such as pre-screening employees prior to entering your workplace. You know, a lot of situations, a lot of, what's it called? I'm sorry, I was interrupted here. A lot of businesses are implementing pre-screenings for their employees, right? They're asking the questions. Have you been in contact with somebody that is sick? Is somebody in your household sick? They're taking temperature checks. They're making sure that all employees have the proper PPE, et cetera. And then have an action plan if an employee fails a screening question. If they answer yes to one of the questions and or the temperature is above the threshold, is what is that plan, right? And having stay-at-home criteria for employees feeling sick or testing positive, have symptom charts available to them. Share symptom charts that are available either through the local agencies, the universities, or the CDC. Give them guidance or those resources on self-quarantine. Have that plan is, if you feel this, please stay at home, self-quarantine, and encourage them to contact the local physicians, and then have return to work criteria available. There's return criteria both for test-based and non-test based strategies. These all are provided through the CDC. They have guidance on the screening questions and the strategies as well. Next slide, please. So another key point here when implementing your policies and procedures is have a response plan for when an employee is symptomatic and or tested positive that was in the work area, right? Is the isolation of the employee. If a person tests positive or is symptomatic at work, is what is your procedure to isolate that employee? You immediately isolate or send home, have them contact a physician. Now you'll have to also protect your employees and visitors. You have to inform them of the possible exposure. Now I believe a colleague of mine is going to speak about some of the procedures and rules on this, but you have a responsibility to inform your employees of the possible exposure, but you also have to keep confidential the information of the individual that tested positive, right? Encourage those individuals to go home, self-monitor for symptoms, self-isolate, etc. Now, the other point here is the cleaning and disinfecting of the workplace. Determine the extent of the exposure. Was that individual isolated to a certain work area? Can we just clean that specific area? Can we close it, right, and clean it? Or was this employee all over the place and we'll have to make the decision to close the facility immediately to perform that enhanced cleaning and disinfection? Along with that is, if you're going to be using these new chemicals or cleaning procedures, make sure that the training is there for the individuals using these new disinfectant or cleaning chemicals, or have contact for third parties that can provide that type of service. There's a lot of companies now available here locally that come in and they can actually disinfect your whole area. So having those numbers clearly readily available for you is key. Another note here is the CDC does have recommendations for isolation procedures and cleaning and disinfecting. Next slide, please. So one thing that I wanted to stress, and the folks right before me were mentioning, is there are many resources out there for you to use. There's a lot of information. It's highly recommended that you all routinely visit the CDC, the OSHA websites, your state and local health department websites for timely and accurate information on COVID-19 and best practices. The information is there. I know it can be daunting and a fearful task. We are here for you guys. If there's questions, please feel free to get a hold of us. If it's a situation where we've had clients that just don't feel that they have the resources to implement these safety plans, and they've contacted us to provide those type of services for them. But with that, that's it, Flor.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Cano. We appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Cristina Cantu, Senior Business and Human Resource Advisor for the UTRGV Small Business Development Center. Ms. Cantu will be talking about preparing your employees to return to work. Ms. Cantu?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cristina Cantu, a Senior Business Advisor with the Small Business Development Center at UTRGV. So I'm going to get started mentioning that there's two primary considerations with regard to human resources. And my perspective is coming from the planning and the processes that you create in your business. So I've done this presentation before, and the last time I did it, I kind of had it reversed because I didn't have that much content. But today I was more specific with the compliance. So I'm going to start out with what you have to consider in terms of human resources. The reason I bring this up is because I've spoken to a lot of business owners that have said, well, so-and-so was sick, so I let him go. And now they're having to deal with what now? Like, do I pay leave? Do I give him, vacation leave? What do I do? So those are things I want you all to consider as well when you're planning for these changes. It's understandable that we reacted and there wasn't enough information for us to handle these matters. But now we need to go back and consider that the laws have not changed. We still have to maintain the laws regarding employees. So I'm going to mention three of the top ones because these are the ones that are being spoken about with regards to human resource. One is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which protects employees and job applicants from unfair treatment. And I'm going to go into detail in a little bit. The next one is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Under the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, employers are responsible for providing safe and healthful workplaces for their employees. And then the last one I'm going to bring up is the Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division that handles the Family First Coronavirus Act, which requires certain employers to provide their employees with paid sick leave or expanded family and medical leave for specified reasons related to COVID-19. The Wage and Hour Division administers and enforces the new law's paid leave requirements, which is effective from April 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. So with regard to EEOC, again, nothing has changed, and Jesse touched on this. You still cannot discriminate against anyone who is either applying for a job with you or your employees, your existing employees. So the reason this is so important is because right now there's a lot of talk about, well, should I consider hiring this individual because they're older, they might get the virus. So as you can see, the EEOC prohibits discrimination against someone based on their age. So if you're saying, well, this individual is in their 60s or their 50s, they might get the virus, you're in the process of committing non-compliance. So I want you to remember those things when you're looking for, in which a lot of businesses are currently looking for new employees to replace the ones that maybe they laid off and did not return, or because now they're having to change the way they do business. Another one is regarding race. For example, I know that across the world, they've talked about, well, let's say the virus came from a specific area. Well, people from that area, could be considered more with higher potential to get the virus. Well, that's not necessarily the case, but there are people saying these things. So I want to make sure to remind everyone that you are still responsible to not commit discrimination. So I wanted to bring that up. If you go to this website, which is specifically to the pandemic, and hopefully this opens properly. Okay. So with regard to this, the EEOC put together a lot of information about this. I want you to kind of take advantage of looking at and I know it's a lot of information, but what they've done is they've had like, you know, questions and answers. So there's a lot of frequently asked questions where they've provided examples. So I think it's a very good website for you to consider reviewing before you make any decisions. And so the next thing I want to discuss is OSHA. So employers have a responsibility to provide a safe workplace. The following are a few key employer responsibilities. So regardless if you're in construction or an accounting office, you still have to provide a safe workplace. Sometimes people think that because they only have one employee that they're not responsible for meeting OSHA compliance. It may not be as much or require as much as, let's say, a construction company, but you still have a responsibility to provide a safe workplace. So again, when you're considering, well, do I have to do anything in regards to the virus? Well, yes, you have to take some steps, maybe not as much as other people, but you do have to take some steps. So some of the examples of the responsibilities that a business or an employer would have would be and to provide a workplace free from serious recognized hazards and comply with standards. Examine workplace conditions to make sure they conform with applicable OSHA standards. Make sure employees have and use safe tools and equipment and properly maintain this equipment. Establish or update operating procedures and communicate them so that employees follow safety and health requirements. And employers must provide safety training in the language and vocabulary workers can understand. And again, OSHA has their own site that has a lot of information regarding the virus. So again, and I believe Jesse had this, there's a guidance on returning to work with regards to OSHA. So again, this is a little handbook that can provide you some guidance before making any decisions related to your business. The last one I'm going to mention is under the U.S. Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division. So the FFCRA, which is the Family First Coronavirus Act, says that covered employers must provide to all employees 2 weeks up to 80 hours of paid sick leave at an employee's regular rate of pay where the employee is unable to work because the employee is quarantined and or experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. The other one is 2 weeks up to 80 hours of paid sick leave at 2/3 the employee's regular rate of pay because the employee is unable to work due to a bona fide need to care for an individual subject to quarantine or care for a child whose school or childcare provider is closed or unavailable for reasons related to COVID and or the employee is experiencing a substantially similar condition as specified under the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now, for those of you that are just hearing this for the first time, leave and expanded family and medical leave provisions apply to certain public and private employers with fewer than 500. So it's all encompassing. So everybody is required to comply with this, but there is a minor exemption, which you as a business would have to determine if you fall under this. Small businesses with fewer than 50 employees may qualify for an exemption for the requirement to provide leave due to school closings or childcare unavailability if leave requirements would jeopardize the viability of the business as a going concern. And again, the Department of Labor Wage and Hour Division has information about that specific role. I do recommend that you go to the link because there's also a poster that you're supposed to have available for the employees. Now, a lot of people don't think that some of these laws would apply to them. I included this. It's from the Texas Workforce Commission's website, and it depicts what laws would apply depending on the number of employees that you have. And we will be sharing these presentations with you, but I just want you to notice that, so for example, the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination, would be one worker. The other one with OSHA, any employer with at least one employee, you fall under OSHA. So be aware of those things. Okay, so these are my tips in regards to compliance. Know and understand COVID-related laws as well as general employment laws. So before you make any decisions about how you will be handling any of this or anything related to the employees returning to work, make sure you know the laws. And please make sure that you're obtaining the information from the proper authority or the agency. I know a lot of times it's like so-and-so told me, or my cousin told me, or another business owner told me, but not everything applies the same to every type of business. So please make sure that you contact the agency directly. I always say they're the ones that are going to enforce the laws. They're the ones that will audit or review you. So you need to hear it from them, not from someone else. Reevaluate your workplace policies to meet compliance. A lot of the changes with regard to COVID are temporary, but you might have to make some amendments. For example, if you have company policies or an employee handbook of some type, so make sure that you're aware of that. Establish health screening policies and procedures following the laws set forth by the government agency, and conduct staff training on new policies. So make sure you're training your staff so that they're aware of the policies. Now, with regards to human resources, now that we've discussed the compliance part, just in terms of what the human resource aspect of your business would do is assess the risk at your business. Develop strategies for meeting organizational goals and objectives based on that risk. So for example, a lot of businesses maybe are not operating at 100% capacity. So full-time instead of 8 people at part-time. So you determine what is the number or the type of employees that are needed at your location. Determine if these resources already exist. Determine if these employees are coming back. Are they willing to come back? And if they're not, well, then you need to consider hiring new employees. And then forecast if the resources are available and seek assistance when recruiting. So for example, working with the Workforce Solutions, who by the way will assist you through the employer services with developing job orders that meet compliance. So my HR tips are to bring back employees in stages. Start with essential employees or those who must complete work at the business location. Rotate work shifts, alternate which employees can come in on certain days or weeks, modify start times and stagger work breaks or lunches. We're trying to minimize the number of people at one specific location. Rearrange workspaces and flow. Setup should allow for physical distancing among staff, and adjust your business practices. Consider making changes to reduce close contact with customers because you want to keep your employees safe. With regards to returning to work, you can conduct surveys or obtain feedback from staff to determine who may have obstacles in returning to work. So there may be people that volunteer to wait or not return to work because they're having some issues, either health issues themselves or maybe childcare issues. So make sure that you're communicating with your staff. Consider offering partial remote work to accommodate staff and to reduce the number of people at your location. Review your company's leave and attendance policies. Address changes to positions or employee status, if any. So in some cases, some employees that were salary full-time are maybe being adjusted to hourly part-time. So you need to address these things as well. Create new or temporary policies related to COVID. And as been mentioned before, make sure to relay that to the employees through training. Develop a plan to execute employees' return to work. So having become aware of the requirements compliance-wise, that's when you start to develop, like, what am I going to do now? How do I bring them back? Communicate all changes with employees consistently. Make sure you have documentation showing that you communicated this information. Research leave and benefit law changes through proper channels. As I mentioned, the FFCRA requires paid leave in certain cases. So be aware of that law. Assign staff responsible for handling HR related questions. So make sure the person that is responding to these questions is aware of all of the requirements, and be prepared to respond to the employee's questions and concerns related to changes. So make sure that you're getting the information from the proper authority, but also that whoever's responding on behalf of your company is very well aware and can provide supporting documentation to whatever decisions are being made. And that is it. Thank you so much. This is my contact information. The PowerPoint presentations will be shared amongst after the session. Flora, I think that's it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Christina. Such great information. And I know that a lot of people can use the HR tips that you just shared with us. And we'll, like you said, we'll go ahead and share all of the presentations along with those slides that have all the tips. Mando, do we have any questions on the chat? I don't see any questions. I know that one was from Jason Valero. He said is if we can share all the PowerPoints via email. Yes, Mr. Valero, we will be sharing the PowerPoints via email later today, and Daniel has also posted the Workforce Solutions presentation on the chat. So we'll be sharing Mr. Gano's and Ms. Cantu's presentation via email later today. Do we have any other questions before we log off from anybody else in the audience?
As far as the questions on their floor, I don't see any other questions from anybody.
I don't see any other questions, but we did share all of our contact information. And on behalf of Workforce Solutions, thank you so much to all the presenters and to all of those of you that chose to be here today, because we know your time is very valuable and you chose to spend this hour with us today. And thank you to all the presenters. Thank you to everyone that worked behind the scenes. Mando, thank you for all of your hard work. We know that this is challenging, but everybody works so well together. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll be definitely sharing this information. Feel free to contact us and any of the presenters that presented today if you need some additional technical assistance. Have a wonderful weekend and stay safe. Thank you.